Alright, so you may hear my boyfriend in the background playing his guitar, but I felt the need to record something that I just thought about. And maybe I've known it this whole time, it just actually came to the surface. But, us African Americans, we've been around here. I'm not gonna act like I know this specific date, but I know at least since the 1500s, that maybe even sooner. I think that's around the time when they started selling to the Americas. But anyways, we've been over here that long. And to people who do world history, they know that we've actually been over here longer. But that's neither here nor there. Only thing I want to say right now is African Americans have been over here at least since the 1500s. Have been over here. And I'm not talking about Africans that immigrated after slavery. I'm talking about African Americans that were ancestors were brought over here as slaves. And I'm pretty sure all that could be, followed back if only they had kept records on us. But they didn't. So, as we know, the majority of us can't trace our roots. But we've been here. I'm guarantee you that it would be very hard to find an African American person that didn't have ancestors that dated all the way back to them. Unless that person, like I said, is like a immigrant from Africa that came after slavery and civil rights and all that stuff. I don't know if it was too many of them around here during the civil rights period. But 9 times out of 10, it probably wasn't. But anyways, I see a lot of people, had a few conversations, but mainly on the internet. I see a lot of people, European people, saying how their families didn't have anything to do with slavery. I'm pretty sure I've seen this, but they weren't even here around that time or nothing like that. It wasn't their ancestors. Now, I don't know what was going on in Europe. 1 second. Now, I don't know what was going on in Europe during the times of slavery and colonization and all of that. Pretty sure it's about the same thing that was going on over here because it was the same Europeans. But I hardly know anything about their specific history. But if you are a person who says you don't have anything to do with slavery, and then also if you are a person who hasn't taken the time out to fully understand American history, which, like, if you're only going off the history that you got in high school, and I would say even most colleges, that's not extensive research, and it's barely research at best. I haven't even done extensive research, but I've explored other information that was not either taught to me in high school or college, or I've explored those things even further because, and it only makes sense during high school and stuff. The time is limited. They can't go into depth about anything, about too many things. So my point is, if you haven't even taken the time to try to really research American history, understand it, really look at the time frames and then compare that to your life right now. It wasn't that America is the baby country. It's not that old, okay? It's not old at all. I think we're like 200 something years. That's not old at all. I mean, grandma's living to be 100 years old, over 100 years old now. It's not that long, okay? Anyways, so if you're one of those people, you haven't even taken the time out to really do some research and try to understand it, and you also say like your family immigrated here, um, either at some point after slavery ended or in the 1920s and the 1930s and all that, you immigrated here, you really have no right, or your opinion is very invalid. Like, who are you to tell African Americans that been here since the 1500s, let's say, how they should feel and what type of progress this country making, what other type of progress this country is already at. You know, when we say there's still systematic racism and stuff like that, that's because there is. And you know what? We've been here since the 1500s. I think we would know, okay? And we've been oppressed and wasn't freed of until recently, okay? So especially if you're a new immigrant, who are you to tell African Americans how to feel and how to interpret what's going on in this country? And you yourself haven't even been here that long. Just think about that. Your people have not known. You can't say how far this country has come, and even any of your family members, if you haven't even been here that long. Not even to slap the icing on the cake that you don't even really know U.S. history or understand it. But yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking about. So the next time somebody try to tell me, oh, my people didn't have no slaves and my people wasn't a part of that and blah, 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 blah. 9 times out of 10, your people immigrated here very recently. So maybe you should not so openly and willingly give an uneducated opinion. That's all, folks.